The role of government is to protect your rights and create an environment that's conducive to doing business. But with one bill, California wants to damage both of those at once. So what do I mean? What am I talking about? Well, there's an anti-gun extremist. She's a state senator, actually out of San Diego area. Her name's Senator Blakespear, and she introduced Senate Bill 15. Senate Bill 15 imposes additional administrative hurdles on FFLs and fees on California's dealers that authorizes fines up to $1,000 for technical violations. The bill is an obvious attempt to drive dealers out of business for what I would describe as, and what others have described as, inconsequential violations. So in other words, they're not going after an FFL. This isn't going after FFLs, gun dealers that are supporting gangs or illegal activity. This is, hey, you didn't dot your I, you didn't cross your T, so therefore we're going to fine you heavily in an attempt to boot you and get you completely thrown out of business. The bill would, from the actual text of the description of the bill would additionally authorize the department to remove a person from the centralized list who has failed to comply with licensing requirements, or who, among other things, failed to allow department to conduct an inspection or failed to maintain accurate business hours with the department. The bill would make a violation of these provisions punishable by a fine and render a person ineligible for replacement on the centralized list for 2 years from the date of removal from the list. The California Constitution requires the state to reimburse local agencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is just, that description is maybe not from 30,000 feet, but it's not down in the weeds, And of course, as always, the devil's in the details. But this is clearly giving local DOJ, or California DOJ, state DOJ, the option to further harass FFLs, to further harass dealers and try to financially burden them out of business. It's crystal clear. And Senator Blakespear is somebody that we've known for a while. She was actually heavily involved in anti-gun groups when she was on the city council here in San Diego. Well, she was actually on the city council in Encinitas. And this is not a coincidence that she's carrying these types of bills. Any kind of harassment of dealers in order to negatively affect gun owners, she's all for it. So.
Yeah, existing law already regulates these folks a lot. There's already a lot of requirements that they have to meet, describing any. There's so much in the way of what the FFL or what the dealer has to do to all comply as it is. And if you read the actual text of the SB15, it goes through and explains what the existing law requires and then explains the changes. And in my opinion, all of the changes that it's pushing for are just more paperwork, more difficulty for these folks to actually keep track of. It's going to be very difficult to not accidentally violate this because there's so much little tiny, so many little tiny details in here that would be very difficult for any business to keep track of.
And $1,000 fine for a gun shop is a big deal.
Yeah.
Gun shops are not, soaking in money. I mean, the amount of money you make selling a firearm, the margin is so tight. So, you get a couple of these violations and it could very, very quickly put you out of business.
Yeah. One of the interesting pieces of it that I thought was it's requiring firearm dealers that it would start in 2028 to maintain inventory records as specified at their place of business in a manner prescribed by the department. So instead of whatever current system you have, maybe you've spent a lot of money on the system that you use, you've figured out something that works for you and your employees, but now the department is going to prescribe the manner in which you have to keep track of your inventory. I'm like, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, this isn't because they're trying to help anybody. I think that's the important thing we've got to take away from that. So, all right. So that is Senate Bill 15, SB 15. And again, Senator Blakespear is somebody, we could have stopped her before she got to the state level, and that's why it's important to focus on city councils, school boards, county boards, sheriff, because they're the ones that eventually move up to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. and try to take your gun rights away, although they've been doing it on the city level as well. So.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.